Hi Huskies, welcome to today's Read Aloud with Miss Hanny. Today we are going to read the story called Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. We are going to read a story about a boy named Alexander and follow along as he goes about his day. When something is terrible, it makes you feel bad, upset, or even sick. When something is horrible, it is very, very bad. You do not like it at all. And so sometimes it seems that everything that can go badly does go badly, and then you have a horrible, terrible, no good, very bad day. So everyone has these days sometimes, and it's okay. Not all days are like that. So while we read the story, I want you to think about this question. What happens to Alexander? What problems does Alexander have during his very bad day? So the author, the person who wrote the words, is Judith Wierst, and the illustrator, the person who paints the pictures, is by Ray Cruz. So first, let's review some important vocabulary words while we read this story. These vocabulary words will help us know what is going on in the book and help us understand what is going on in the story. So let's pretend that we're in class, remember, friends, and practice the movements together. So the first word is carpool. Carpool is sharing one car with multiple people going to the same place. So carpool, when you carpool with someone, you're sharing a car. A cavity is a hole in your tooth caused by a plaque or germ. So cavity, cavity. And scolded, the word scolded means to speak in a sharp or angry way when you're scolded like that. Okay, friends, so now let's begin reading our story together. I will be stopping after I read a little bit and asking a question, and it is your job to talk to the person at home or to the screen and answer my questions. Remember, let's talk together. Let's pretend that we're in class so we can do our turn and talks. Okay, friends, so this is Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. So this is the beginning of the story, and when we read, we always read on the top left corner, and we read from left to right, and we go slide all the way across and back to the left side. Okay, and remember, while we read, the question you're thinking about is, what problems does Alexander have during his very bad day? Let's get started reading. I went to sleep with gum in my mouth, and now there's gum in my hair. And when I got out of bed this morning, I tripped on the skateboard, and by mistake, I dropped my sweater in the sink while the water was running. I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. So friends, we're going to pause right here, and I want to know, a lot of things happened to Alexander just now. What are the three things that first happened this morning to make him think that, it's going to be a really bad day? I'm going to pause, and you're going to look at the picture and remember the words. What did we just read? Pause. Now it's my turn. The three things that happened to him that made him think, today's going to be a bad day is 1, he got gum in his hair. 2, he tripped over his skateboard. And 3, he dropped his sweater in the sink and got it all wet. Okay. At breakfast, Anthony found a Corvette Stingray car kit in his breakfast cereal box, and Nick found a junior undercover agent code ring in his breakfast cereal box. But in my breakfast cereal box, all I found was breakfast cereal. I think I'll move to Australia. Look at how Alexander is looking. What do you think he feels right now? I think he feels really upset. Maybe he feels angry because all his brothers got a toy, but he didn't get a toy, so he probably feels upset. In the carpool, Mrs. Gibson let Becky have the seat by the window. Audrey and Elliot got seats by the windows too. I said I was being scrunched. I said I was being smushed. I said if I don't get a seat by the window, I am going to be carsick. And no one even answered. I could tell that it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Friends, I'm going to pause and I'm going to think, when you ignore someone, You act like no one's even there. So he was ignored. His friends were ignoring him. So Alexander feels ignored because no one answers him when he's feeling smushed when he says that. How do you think Alexander feels when he is ignored? So look at there. Alexander is in the car. When someone is not paying attention to you when you're talking, how do you think you would feel? How do you think Alexander would feel? Let's pause, turn and talk to your family member or to Miss Hanny. Okay, well, I think that he probably feels sad or frustrated because he isn't listened to. And I also can tell that his face in the picture there, he looks really upset with a frown. So he probably doesn't feel good. And he keeps saying today is going to be a really bad day. Good job, friends. Let's keep reading. At school, Mrs. Dickens liked Paul's picture of the sailboat better than my picture of the invisible castle. At singing time, she said I sang too loud. At counting time, she said I left out 16. Who even needs 16? I could tell that it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Let's turn the page. I could tell because Paul said I wasn't his best friend anymore, and he said that Philip Parker was his best friend and that Albert Moyo was his next best friend and that I was only his third best friend. I hope you sit on a tack, I said to Paul. I hope the next time you get a double-decker strawberry ice cream cone, the ice cream cone falls off, the ice cream part falls off the cone part and lands in Australia. Friends, was that very kind that you hope that he sits on a tack and that his ice cream will fall? That's not kind. He probably feels really, really upset right now. Next, there were 2 cupcakes in Philip Parker's lunch bag, and Albert got a Hershey bar with almonds, and Paul's mother gave him a piece of jelly roll that had little coconut sprinkles on the top. Guess whose mother forgot to put in dessert? It was a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Friends, let's pause and think about what happened here. What doesn't Alexander have that all his friends have, but Alexander does not have? And how do you think that makes him feel? So remember, if you need some help, good readers always read the words and they always look at the pictures to help them understand what is happening in all the parts of the story. So look at what he's holding and look what his friends might have in the pictures. I'm gonna pause. So his friends, they all have some dessert. Can you say the word dessert? Dessert is the sweet stuff like cakes and candies that you can eat after your meal. So all his friends have dessert, but he does not have dessert. His mom forgot to pack him one. And I can tell that he looks sad because in the picture, his eyes are down and his mouth is frowning. So he probably feels left out and maybe he feels a little different because he's the only one without dessert. That's good job, friends. Good talking. Remember, keep it up. That's what it was, because after school, my mom took us all to the dentist and Dr. Fields found a cavity in me. A cavity. Come back next week and I'll fix it, said Dr. Fields. Next week, I said, I'm going to Australia. Friends, let's pause right here. Do you think his day is going to get better or maybe it'll get worse? What do you think? Let's make a prediction. A prediction is something that will happen in the future, that will happen later in the story. So I'm going to pause and tell the person at your house, what do you think is going to happen? Is it going to be better or worse? And why? Okay, friends, let's keep going. I think it might get better, but it also might get worse because it seems like he doesn't have a good attitude right now. Let's keep reading. On the way downstairs, the elevator door closed on my foot, and while we were waiting for my mom to go get the car, Anthony made me fall where it was muddy, and then I started crying because of the mud. Nick said I was a crybaby, and uh-oh. While I was punching Nick for saying crybaby, my mom came back with the car and scolded me for being muddy and fighting. I am having a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day, I told everybody. No one even answered. So friends, when you scold someone, you speak to them in a mad voice and you tell them what they have done wrong. So Alexander's mom is scolding him because he was muddy and fighting with his brothers. He probably feels really upset because his brothers were making fun of him. But friends, what could he done differently instead of punching his brothers? We have a lot of techniques that when you're mad and you're feeling a lot of emotions, there's different ways we can handle them. Like last week, we had what book did we read last week? Turn and talk to your partner. What are some different ways we can calm our body down? Okay, now it's my turn. So I know that last week we read the story about our magic breath. We could take our magic breath and let out all the bad feelings to calm down. What other ways? I think he could have used his words and used his words to say, hey, I don't like that. Please stop. He could have walked away and ignored. He could have cleaned himself up, or he could have went and told his mom. So there's different ways. Instead of fighting and using unsafe bodies, there's always a different way to solve our problems. Let's keep reading and see what happens next. So then we went to the shoe store to buy some sneakers. Anthony chose white ones with the blue stripes. Nick chose red ones with the white stripes. I chose blue ones with the red stripes. But then the shoe man said, we're all sold out. They made me buy plain old white ones, but they can't make me wear them. Oh, he's upset because he didn't get the shoes he wanted. That's so sad. When we picked up my dad at his office, he said I couldn't play with his copying machine, but I forgot. He also said to watch out for the books on his desk, and I was careful as could be except for my elbow. He also said don't fool around with his phone, but I think I called Australia. My dad said, please don't pick him up anymore. It was a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Uh-oh, look at all of the mess. I don't think anyone feels happy right now. Let's keep reading. There were lima beans for dinner. I hate limas. There was kissing on TV. I hate kissing. Bleh. My bath was too hot. I got soap in my eyes. My marble went down the train. And I had to wear my railroad train pajamas. And I hate my railroad train pajamas. When I went to bed, Nick took back the pillow. He said I could keep, and the Mickey Mouse nightlight burned out, and I bit my tongue. The cat wants to sleep with Anthony, not me. It has been a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. My mom says some days are like that. Even in Australia. So friends, Alex, throughout the book, Alexander keeps saying that he'll move to Australia. Every time something bad happens, he said, that's it, I'm moving to Australia. So friends, Australia is a faraway country across the world, and kangaroos come from Australia. So Australia is a big country all the way across the world on the globe, in the earth. So friends, I want to ask you, do you think people in Australia can also have bad days? Or do they have perfect, wonderful days all the time, 100%? Or is it possible that maybe Australians, people that live in Australia, they can also have a bad day? What do you think? Well, it says here Alexander's mom says some days can be like that. And I think anyone can have a bad day, not just you, but Miss Hanny and maybe your mom and your dad, they can also have a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. So friends, it's important that if you're having a terrible, horrible, very bad day, that's okay. Tomorrow will be a better one. And I think that is the end. So that is the end of our story. Today we read Alexander, and we followed along on his terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. And we went on a journey to see how his day went. And we learned that, having a bad day once in a while is totally normal. So we are going to learn important skills of how to react and use our emotions. So we paid attention to all the different problems he faced. For homework, we are going to think about all the things we read today, and we are going to answer the big question. What problems does Alexander have during his very bad day? What do you think might help Alexander feel better? You are going to draw a picture and label what happens in your illustration. So then we are going to pretend that we are Alexander's best friend, and we are going to give him some advice to help him make him feel better. So I'll show you how to log on and submit your Seesaw assignment, but let me show you how to do our homework first. So we have to answer the question, what happened on his terrible, horrible, very bad day? Draw a picture of what happens. So first it's Miss Hanny's turn. I'm gonna draw some pictures, and remember, your answers should look different than Miss Hanny. So make sure that we're drawing different things. Do not copy what Miss Hanny wrote. I'm just gonna give you an idea. So I drew, here's Alexander. He looks really sad because he has a horrible bad day. And one thing that happened in the story was that he did not have dessert. So I drew a picture of a cake because he didn't have dessert, and I drew an X, no dessert. And he also wanted shoes, but he had no shoes. So these are two pictures that I'm going to draw. And friends, remember, you need to label your pictures. So label dessert. D, d, d. You know that dessert starts with the letter D? Dessert. U makes a sound. So I'm gonna write the letter U. And friends, remember, when we're spelling our words, we need to sound it out. Parents, if you're listening here, make sure that your kids are just trying to sound out the words and the letters and the sounds all by themselves. It's okay if the words are spelled in a really, really silly way. This is a good way for Miss Hanny to know what level are your children, are your students spelling on, and it's a good way for them to practice their writing. So do not help your kids with their writing, okay, parents? Thank you. So dessert, D-U, S makes the S sound, the sound. Dessert, dessert, It kind of sounds like the letter E, so I'm gonna write the letter E. Dessert, like E-egg-e. Dessert. Which letter sound makes a R? That's the letter R. And dessert. Dessert. I think it's the letter T. Dessert? Yeah, dessert. And then shoes. I know that the diagraph SH makes shoes, and the letter U makes a oo sound, like up, like you, shoe. So close enough. So I'm gonna write the shoes. And shoes kind of ends with a sound. So I'm gonna write shoes. And so this is what you need to draw. You need to draw what happened in the picture and then label your picture. Okay, so here I'm all done with my homework. Now I'm gonna show you how to log on to Seesaw and turn in your homework. I'm gonna share my screen. Ready, friends? So here I am. You're gonna go to Clever. You are going to go to Clever, click on Seesaw. And once you're on Seesaw, you're gonna click on the light bulb here, activities. And I don't have the activity up yet, but I'm gonna pretend that this is for this week. So you're gonna click on the green button, find your name, or it should be logged onto your account automatically. You're gonna click on video, click on the video so you can record. And then you're gonna click on record, just like this, boop, pretend that I clicked it. Then we're gonna say, this is my drawing for Alexander's very bad day. In the story, these things happened to Alexander. First, he did not have a dessert. His mom forgot to pack it for him, and I wrote the word dessert. Second, he did not get the shoes that he wanted. He wanted white shoes with red or blue, but he ended up getting like the regular shoes that he didn't want. And then I labeled the word shoes. Okay, and then I want you to find at least 3 more things to put in your story. Okay, Huskies? Okay, so now, and now that I told you about my story, I'm gonna pretend that I'm Alex's best friend. And if I was Alex's best friend, I would wanna make him feel better by maybe sharing my dessert. I could share my food with him, or I could tell him some kind things like, it's okay, Alexander, it's gonna be okay, and that I appreciate you as my friend, and tell him some kind words, okay? And as a best friend, you also need to share in the video, what could you do to make Alexander feel better? I want to know some things you can say in the video, so tell Miss Hanny about what you can do to make him feel better. And when you're all done, click on the green button here. There should be a green button. So, well, let's pretend to record. Pretend that I recorded all that, and then click on the green button to submit. Okay, friends? So that is all for our read aloud today. If you have any questions, make sure to text or call Miss Hanny, Miss Christina, or Mr. Duchel. Make sure you record the video, and I can't wait to see all the fun things that you will write and label in the pictures, okay? I'll watch your videos for homework. Thank you so much. Bye, Huskies.